Welcome back to Spitballin Cards. In this video, we have a bunch of sales that make no sense. In this episode, you have me, Scott, we have Chris, we have Jeff, and we have Phil. Guys, is this our A-plus lineup? So I'm just kidding, Ty. We love you. I hope you're listening. We're excited to have you back next week. But in this episode, we saw some crazy stuff between a BGS 9.5 Ohtani Gold Auto versus a PSA 10 Ohtani Bowman Chrome Gold Auto. We also saw some crazy stuff from Dick's Sporting Goods, buying a card that was worth they probably paid more than it's worth by quite a bit. And we also saw Jackson Holliday go for a lot. So let's talk about some of these sales. What's going on? Is it spring training hype? Is it marketing dollars? What's happening? All right, Phil, let's hear your thoughts first.
Paul Skenes tops $1 million after the buyer's premium. And then the next day it's released that Dick's Sporting Goods was the buyer. I guess they have a store that's in some sort of mall over by the Pittsburgh Pirates stadium. And they're going to use it there as somewhat of like a marketing sort of thing. So this is a marketing expense for them. And I guess it could be cool. I think the first thought for me and maybe some other ones that maybe people that are a little bit naturally skeptical are wondering like, what's going on here? Like, is this some sort of like play on, hey, like Fanatics, if we do this, then will you like give us like more distribution? Because they're starting to really get into the, the retail side of things. And I've used them. I bought some Topps Update hangers off them, and they've got like a lot of retail product. You've got to wait a long time to get it, and you're paying like, maybe $1 or $2 more than Target or Walmart at this point. But
I'm raising my hand because I don't want to cut you off, but I just bought a bunch of cards that got in from Dick's today. So very good point.
Yeah. So like I look at the sale and I'm like, this is cool. The fact that it sold for a lot, it's going to probably, continue to make headlines. It already has. Like they've really, drawn this out really well. Would the card have gone for more in Golden Auctions versus Fanatics? Nobody knows. I thought the sale went for a lot. If you just go off, like if you remove the whole idea of the bounty and all of these offers that happened before the card was even pulled, and like you forget about all of that, and you just make this about like the Bowman Chrome Superfractor Auto, which had sold the middle of last year, the first card from 2023 Bowman Draft, and you look at this sale, this sold for, Scott, was it like 8 times as much? Like usually they're pretty close. So from that sense, like that, and went for a lot, and I understand why, because of all the shenanigans and stuff and all the offers for the card. But at the end of the day, this was a card of a pitcher that just 2 to 2.5x'd the highest ever reported Shohei Ohtani sale of a card. Now I know there's been some like private deals that have probably been higher in this country and outside this country, but it's at the end of the day, like, and I'm the biggest Paul Skenes believer out of all of us right now, just from a short-term perspective. But like, I think I just saw an article about how many pitchers have need Tommy John from the White Sox just based on 1 month. Six.
1 month.
Paul Skenes' teammate Jared Jones just went down. He's looking for a second opinion. Probably going to be out for the entire year. Like, Paul Skenes throws really, really hard. I think I heard something earlier today about how the average speed for a fastball was like 91 miles an hour in 2007. Maybe it was like 89, but it's gone up like 5 miles an hour. They're still using all the same like tracking tools. Like, and that's like a large reason for injury is pitching close to max. Average fastball velocity in Skenes is right up there, even though he's got a different build. So it's like, what does this mean for the hobby? Great for attention. What does this mean for the sports card market, though? Very little, because of the disconnect of high-end, ultra high-end, a space that none of us play in, which I would consider like $75,000 to $100,000 and up, and everything else. Like, there's different buyers, which you can clearly see. It was Dick's Sporting Goods, different levels of money, different cohorts that are going after those cards than the cards that we're in. The cards for the plebs, even if there is like a high-end segment for that, for those cards. So I don't see this affecting other card prices in the future. I think if anything, and we saw this during the pandemic, you would see like the lower end cards, like a maybe a bad example for you guys. Maybe Ty should be on for this, but Kobe Bryant, Topps Chrome autograph or Topps Chrome rookie and a PSA 10. If that starts selling for 20K, then maybe the refractor starts like going up as a result. But usually you don't see it working the other way. From my experiences, where like there's a massive high end card sale, and then like all of Paul Skenes cards go up proportionately. Like I don't know. I just think it's like a bifurcation of the card world from a market standpoint. I don't think it means much.
What a
All right, what do you think, Chris?
I think
Chris, good luck following that up.
Right. I'm just gonna say one thing. The one price that will definitely be affected by that sale is the 2025 Topps Chrome Update Hobby Box, which is going to come out of the chute from Topps at like $3.99 minimum.
Mega boxes are going to be lined up for again, like they were a few years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Jeff. Sorry, go ahead.
I just I don't have too much to add there. Just officially crowns the debut patch as the new big chase in the hobby. And we've gotten recent confirmation from Fanatics that they're going to be in NBA products and NFL products when they have the license. So I think the oomph behind that will just continue to build. The price is crazy, but I just think that difference that Phil mentioned between what was formerly a player's best card, their Bowman Chrome Superfractor, to get 8x in this auction, it was very surprising.
Oh yeah, if you bought that Superfractor, I mean, are you just listing it? Does it go into the next golden auction like ASAP?
Yes, Chris, you have to sell that card right now.
I would think so. Yeah,
with the marketing engine. So I recently, today when I'm recording this, I released this video where I talked about the debut patch versus the Superfractor. Here's Junior Caminero, right? Double. Let's go to the next player. Here's Colton Cowser from 10,000 to 50,000, 5 times higher. This is a Colt Keith. There wasn't a Superfractor sale, but this is his Topps Chrome. It's 4 times higher, 5 times higher. Kierstad, his just barely went for 1.85. His Topps Chrome Superfractor autograph, the logo fractor. His went for 45,000.
Wow.
Make that, like, I'm just saying, like, the prices they're crazy. They're crazy.
I mean, no one should care about a logo fractor, Superfractor. That's just too many.
That's
too many actors in this.
You would say that, but like, man, people see Superfractor and they buy. But
I know.
My point is, this
I said shouldn't care, but yeah,
shouldn't is the right word. This was 123 grand versus 1.1 million. So I guess my question is, what would this card have sold for had Dick's Sporting Goods not bought it and Fanatics not? I don't want to say pumped it. They didn't pump it. They marketed their own card. That's fine. This is what they've been marketing. I don't think it was a pump. And like, what's their incentive? They don't make money off of it. I mean,
there are obviously other interested parties, Scott. So
maybe I'm being too naive. Maybe this is like a really bad thing for the hobby that they're doing this. I don't know.
I do think there's something kind of cool about this card potentially being on display at that Dick's in Pittsburgh. Like, I think it's cool that there's a card like this that you can just go see. Something about that is cool, and I think that should help I mean, a very small amount, but people are going to see this and be like, "Oh, that's a baseball card. That's cool," and maybe they're going to want to get interested.
That out of a pack, yes.
Yeah,
Going to feed the gambling addiction for sure.
Yeah, they're going to make their money back on this card though, and then they're going to sell it at a loss, and then write it off.
So with that tax thing, and I looked into this just to make sure this was the case. They probably wrote it off at the time of purchase as a marketing expense. But when they sell it, they can't double dip. So the cost basis is 0 of the card when they sell it. They basically get taxed for the entire thing. It gets treated as a realized gain, ordinary income, whatever. So 1.4 million, or if it sells for 500,000, they get taxed on the entire thing, 30% ish or whatever of that. So it's not a free lunch.
Taxes go.
Yeah,
I don't have enough to offset that.
True. You know what they could do though? That would be great for them. They buy this card, marketing expense. Now they want to get rid of it after a year or two of it sitting in their store. Paul Skenes has Tommy John surgery. They could just give it to Paul Skenes. They could have a giveaway for fans. Come buy Dick's Sporting Goods. Anybody who buys a pack of cards here has a chance to get this card. Now it's another marketing expense. Like, there's a lot they could still do with this card that I don't think we've seen the end of it yet. So could that ruin all high-end cards moving forward? All of these rookie debut patch autographs. Now we have Best Buy buying some for some idiotic reason. Like, is there a chance this is a concern for anybody?
I think a lot of those data points are useful, Scott, that I hadn't seen yet. Were those part of your video from earlier today?
Yeah.
I didn't realize there were a lot that have already like 5x the superfractor auto. What that tells me is maybe there is a good amount of organic demand already that isn't affected by the artificial demand created by bounties. If you know what I mean? There could also be the effect of the bounties on other cards and people kind of getting FOMO'd out, like, oh, well, the Skenes is crazy, so this card must be worth a lot more. So
That's my thoughts, Phil. I think the fact that the Skenes went for so much benefits Topps because now all of these are worth more than they probably should be, realistically. And so now people are going to buy the product even more. So them marketing this card was great. And it really is cool. I want to make sure I hit that. It is cool. But there's a chance they're all overpriced, potentially. But at the same time, like, they are definitively the best card of a player past 2023. So,
yeah. And this sale was mentioned on the MLB Network a couple of times. I was watching over the weekend, and on ESPN as well on SportsCenter.
Yeah.
Maybe the last time ESPN mentions baseball, but
yeah.
All right, Jeff, I want you to lead this one off. We had a very interesting sale. 2 Ohtani gold Bowman Chrome autographs, basically the exact same card sold, but one of them went for $204,000, while the other one went for $96,000. What was the only difference, you ask? Just the grade. But the thing is, it was a BGS 9.5 with a True Gem Plus versus a PSA 1010. So what do you think of this? What's your gut reaction in regards to this sale? 1, which one are you taking? And 2, is the price gap justified?
I'm taking the cheaper one in this case. If I had $100,000, I'd be very happy with that BGS True Gem Plus. I wonder how quickly it's going to be sent into PSA to see if it can be converted to a PSA 10. You have a lot of price room baked in, that extra 100,000 to send it several times to get the crossover to PSA 10. And is it justified? I don't know. It seems to be justified given that that's what the market decided. It is a little surprising to see that it's 2x or over 2x now of a True Gem Plus. I don't know if that's more of a commentary on how much people like PSA and prefer PSA, or just how far BGS has fallen in the eyes of the beholder. But I'm taking the 96,000 for sure.
Oh yeah.
Interesting thing, almost 80 more like watchers on the 10th. Like, it's a big number. All right. What do you
and let me say, I'm as big a PSA fan as anybody, and I'd much rather have a PSA slab, but not at that difference. Just doesn't justify it. Same card.
No, it would cost you $5,000 to do the graded card review with PSA. You could do it 20 times, and one of those times it's going to cross, right? I mean, unless there's a real serious like surface defect in there.
I'm pretty sure after the 15th time they see this card, they'll know it's you. So they'll probably
for sure. Probably the second time they'll know. Can you imagine what kind of balls would you have to crack this thing and then send it in?
Oh
man, I would be envious of the person who was willing to do that.
I mean, what's the downside? It's a 9 and it's worth $75,000. I mean, the downside is not that big anymore.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. Like, I don't think the BGS 9.5 elevates it as much as it used to, and this proves it. I bet you a 910 gets close to that 9.510 at the same auction, because this auction was very overheated. Not later, like even next week, but at this auction, I think it would have gotten close to the BGS 9.5 price. What do you think, Phil? Am I off base?
I got a different opinion here on this BGS 9.5.
And
I know the auto is graded at 10, but my eyes disagree. I don't see I'm not a big fan of the strength of that autograph, and I know some 10 autos of Ohtani, specifically this card, have autograph that looks like this, but I don't think a PSA 10 auto would have it. And you could say, well, the PSA 10 auto doesn't justify a premium because nobody cares about PSA's auto grades. I don't care. I care about what the autograph looks to me. So for me, if I have a net worth of $15 million, 15, like 1.5, not 50. So,
reasonable. All right.
Yeah. I would strongly consider the PSA 10 auto 10 if my intentions were to hold the card for more than a year, and if I wanted it to be a permanent part of my collection, especially, or investment portfolio, whatever the heck it would be for me, I do think it's actually pretty close.
Scott, could you click on that auto so we can see the one Phil's talking
Yeah,
about? The
I
PSA
did.
10 auto.
Give me 2 seconds, because there was actually a PSA Authentic with the graded 10 that looks worse than this one, though.
Ooh,
So, like,
that one sold for like 100K, didn't it?
that was because it was
Really?
number 50 of 50. But that's my point. Like, I still do think I think we give PSA too much credit at times on some of
Yeah.
this.
Okay, so here's another thing.
Phil's saying his eyes don't deceive him. So I wanted to see the PSA one.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
found the Authentic. Let me show the other one real quick that you're asking about.
I understand Phil's point, though. From a straight up
too.
investment, then the PSA 1010 is going to be way easier to sell down the road than the BGS 95, because in 2 years, who knows? There might not even be a BGS anymore.
Here's the part that's concerning. That streak right there, especially right in this area.
Yep.
Yeah.
But with that being said, let me pull up the other one that I found.
Well, what does the PSA 1010 look
Yeah,
like?
let's see what the good one looks like.
It looks a lot better. I agree with Bill.
So here's the other part of the equation. So I would argue that this has already been cracked multiple times. And you can actually go to the BGS pop report to find out when this card was encapsulated. BGS will give you a date. And if it was more than 2 years ago, or more than 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, I don't know. Either way, like, okay, if it's a long time ago, less chance it wasn't cracked recently, but that could mean that it was in a lot of people's hands. Maybe it's switched hands a few times, been traded or whatever it shows, bought and sold, and people have seen the BGS lab up close, inspected it, and been like, this isn't a good cross candidate. So that wouldn't really make me feel good. And if it's been in the holder for just a few months or just 1 year, then I feel like, oh, well, this has probably been cracked and crossed and attempted many different times. And like, to answer your question, like, who would like have the balls to try to crack something like this and submit it to PSA? It's a little bit different when the card's $10,000 or $15,000 or $5,000 than it is when it's like, $100,000.
Yeah.
I'd be a little bit worried about that Beckett card. I would suspect that wouldn't cross too.
I would agree. I think
maybe you tried 10 times.
No one tried yet. It would be insane to think that it hasn't been tried.
It has to have been tried. But this is what I was talking about, Phil. This is a PSA 10 graded autograph. That's worse than the BGS 9.5.
The bulk of it looks darker.
Yeah, it's just that tail.
But it's the same concept for this one. I mean, maybe it's not. Maybe this one's slightly worse. But I'm just saying, like, I don't
The
know.
upper part's a little more faded.
Well, show me the PSA 10 auto 10.
Yeah, that's definitely worse. That's definitely streakier.
Show the
PSA 10 has a little bit of a streak. All of his autographs have a streak, to be honest. I think if Ty was here,
nice. That's really nice for Ohtani's autograph.
Yeah.
right there's a streak a little bit. If Ty was here, he'd be screaming like it's still his autograph and it's marginal. Like, stop being stupid. He already did that on one of his shows. But like, I agree with him. Like,
it's the most important part of the card, is what I would say.
Yeah, it's fair. I think it's fair, but there is the flip side where it's like 100% versus like 95% good autograph. I mean,
yeah, as long as it's on the card, right? Ohtani does a really good job of staying on the card. He doesn't, isn't Acuna his way off the border.
Yeah, I don't know. The BGS, I've had a hard time wanting to buy BGS for a long time. I just bought my blue Ohtani. That's a PSA 9. I paid almost BGS 9.5 comps because I think PSA 9s are going to be comparable to BGS 9.5 not that long in the future if it's already happening.
Yeah,
and maybe I'm wrong.
Especially for sure.
Yeah.
Here's a great question for you guys, though. If you're going to drop $200K on a card in this auction, would you rather have that PSA 1010 Ohtani Gold, or would you rather have Jackson Holliday's MLB debut patch auto? I don't even. It's not even a question for me.
Not even close. Jackson. Just kidding. Just kidding. Give me that Ohtani.
Right?
Okay. Cardboard consensus. 1 through 5. 5 Ohtani. 1 Jackson Holliday. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah. I mean, I give me more fingers.
Dude, the biggest winner of that Paul Skenes sale was the guy holding the Jackson Holliday card. That's the biggest winner of that sale.
And that's just frustrating. That guy, what an asshole. Jackson Holliday is not the Tom Brady of baseball. The idea that someone could say that and not just immediately like vomit out of their mouth in like shame is just so alarming and sad for the hobby.
It just shows
two people believed it.
You guys know what he's talking about. That's a terrible comparison. Why comparing Tom Brady to a player who's a rookie? Like, none of it makes sense.
Who did this?
The guy that owns it. There's a video going around. He had the guy that put the card in the auction said, "This is
I
the
can't
Tom
believe
Brady
you didn't crash him for that, Phil."
That back to the video about our fears, hobby fears, and pet peeves. People in the hobby, right there, stuff like that.
Gross. Yeah, just disgusting. Yeah, and
it was absurd, but it got him so much attention and got the auction so much attention. Maybe he was just knew what he was doing.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he sold that card for $200,000. So
did he mean Mac Jones of baseball?
That's
maybe
that would have been
Brady?
a great comparison.
There's a real world where the Jackson Holliday has an easier path to value than the Skenes, but it's not a likely world. I mean, because the Jackson Holliday is good. You know, we saw the Acuna Superfractor go for $400,000. We saw the Bryce Harper go for $400,000. We saw the Vlad out of 5 go for $500,000 at one point during the COVID peak. Honestly, if Jackson Holliday has an MVP in the next few years, that card could be worth more than it is now. There's a pathway, but I can't see a pathway for Skenes in any way I slice it.
I can't see a pathway for Jackson Holliday to win an MVP. I have a hard time with that one. I'm struggling to see it.
Mike Trout was really bad his rookie year too. As a number 1 prospect, he was poor.
Same age.
I don't think it's unheard of. I'm not banking on it. I'm not buying that card, but I do think there is a real world where there's potential. Tell me I'm wrong. If like, is there any?
I mean, you put enough qualifiers in there where I don't know if I can say that.
I did. There is a real world. It's just like, you know, like in Avengers where Doctor Strange goes and like tries to find the world where they can beat Thanos, and there's like trillions of worlds. There's a world for Jackson.
There's a world.
When you put it that way,
It has a slightly safer floor than the Paul Skenes card, but the Paul Skenes has so much attached to it with all the shenanigans and stuff that could keep it safe even after a Tommy John, maybe. But I feel like Skenes could get cut in half faster than the Holiday. And I'm one of the biggest bears on the show with Jackson Holliday. I actually have a bet with Jeff and with Chris, and it's the over-under for Jackson Holliday's OPS this year. Over-under was set at 730, and I have the under on that. We're not going to make an episode on we're probably not going to do one before the season starts. This is the last episode before opening day. But if we did like a breakout and busts video, I would want to do it just so I could say publicly that I think Jackson Holliday is going to bust again this year, in my opinion, despite the great spring training. We got fooled with Jordan Walker having a great spring training. How did that turn out? There's been a number of those guys.
I don't know. Did he clear 730 OPS?
I don't think so.
He probably did, but those games don't count for you guys.
Real quick, Scott, can I just mention the Wemby that went in the same auction? You talked about how frothy this particular auction was, and Chris and I both offline talked about how we wish we had put some cards into it after seeing what was happening. There was a Victor Wembanyama card who, as we know, is already out. He's out for the whole year. Blood clots. Maybe a career issue. This card sold for over $500,000. This is his logo man, and it is not game used. It's not from any particular game player. It's just off the rack at Dick's, which maybe they're using some of their funds to promote this as well. Not associated with any specific player, game, or event. It's just a random logo man patch. There's no autograph on this at all. None. No connection to the player whatsoever. And it sold for over $500,000. So does that just show how much different basketball collectors are than baseball collectors? And what does that portend for Fanatics taking over that basketball license? Because they're seeing sales like this and just chomping at it.
I don't understand why this card has any value at all. I don't get it. It reminds me of like those shitty Topps manufactured relics you get in retail.
You get the heavy helmet. Yeah.
That's literally what it is. I mean, it's not. Literally is the wrong word because they're in every blaster box. But in the sense where this could have been that, and this is just one parallel of that card from once. So here's an interesting thing. This is to, I don't know if you guys saw this. This is his Mercury foil fractor 1/1. And on card autograph, he did a Nike swoosh, and this is a Nike swoosh. This is game worn. I think this is from his rookie debut. Guess how much this sold for?
Still unlicensed, but less than, I guarantee it sold for less than the Logo Man, which is crazy. I'd much rather have this one.
Oh my God.
$78,000.
Yeah. That's
Were
absolutely
people just confused about the Logo Man, Jeff? Do they not know what that was?
Someone talked themselves into the legacy of it. I guarantee
Widely
Two people must have talked
publicized.
themselves into the legacy of
Yes,
it.
multiple people. It was pretty widely publicized what it was and what it wasn't. So I'm just shocked that it still mattered that much.
the material embedded in this card was worn by Victor
During his
Wembanyama
rookie
on
season.
January 29th, 2024, during his rookie season. That's so cool. I don't know. Basketball collectors are a different breed. I see on Instagram all the time the longest freaking story posts about them justifying their purchases and why this is the card, more so than baseball. And so we are in for a rude awakening, my friends. And Ty has been hinting at this for a long time. We're going to see some massive change to like some of the Topps products that historically, like a Logo Man from Dynasty goes for of Trevor Story rookie autograph. I got for $700. I got it for $500. That card, if it was a basketball player of that same caliber, that's like a $10,000. Like, it's just crazy. It's crazy how much people pay for these cards in basketball. So
it's crazy. But so I wonder, as the basketball license moves over, is it going to make basketball collectors want to have game used stuff more, or is it going to make baseball collectors not care about it as much? And I think it's going to be more the former than the latter.
I think basketball collectors have no idea how much they're going to love it when it happens, because they'll lose the legacy brands, but they love on-card autographs and they love game used, and all the crap we can talk about Topps, they're pretty dang good at that.
Yeah. All right. Just wanted to mention that. Bring a little basketball into this. So we're not the only
outrageous.
crazy.
I can't wrap my head around that.
All right, Phil, what do you think? I saw you unmute yourself, which means you have something you had to say.
Nope.
Yeah, a few different things there. I look at that $500,000 sale. Is that what it went for? The Wemby? The stupid sale? One is going back to what I was saying earlier, like it's hard to rationalize how very, very rich people spend their money to try to come up with some sort of a fair market value, or look at that and be like, yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense for like a card of that caliber. The second part is, basketball and football collect more basketball, because at least football gets, I think, game used on Flawless, but not NT, and basketball gets nothing. Is that the case?
I think they get Flawless game used.
Yeah, basketball is one of them as well.
Yeah.
Basketball, they're actually getting game used?
I think they are. I can double check on eBay, but I'm pretty sure.
I got it flipped. Basketball gets Flawless game used, and in football, they get nothing. They don't get game used for Flawless or NT. I think that's what.
Yeah, I'm not sure about football, so that's
So, some of it is just like their preferences and just their hierarchy of cards is just sort of all based on, I wouldn't say lies, but just sort of like this contrived. What's another word for bullshit that's been spoon-fed to them by the manufacturers, because that's all they have. But I think a lot of collectors are savvy enough to, people that have been around for long enough, like understand the difference of like game used and event worn and the provenance of the patch and why that matters. And I think a lot are going to be looking forward to this. A lot more experienced collectors for sure. Whether they're low end, mid end, high end folks, like unfortunately, a lot of those cards are going to be out of people's reaches. Another thought I had was, this Wemby sale must mean that the debut patch is actually really undervalued.
Yeah, that's true. But I ask you this: what if Skenes had a similar card in this product, an unlicensed card with his Logo Man, the Major League Baseball Logo Man, that was not worn by him, no auto on there? What do you think that would have sold for? So say like an immaculate.
I bet you I can find one right now, and I bet you it's like 2K, 1K, 0K.
I was going to say, yeah.
I'll go to Market Movers. I'll type that 101 in. There's like 8,000 101s.
I mean, Skenes is similar hype-wise, and especially with Wemby now out. He's completely out of the league right now. I don't know.
All right, well, I'll start hunting for that. That's a great question, Jeff. So I'll look it up. With that being said, I know Chris. After this, sorry, I reread. I read that wrong.
That's okay. There was one other kind of really big sale that happened in this auction. For the first time that I have seen one, a Mookie Betts Bowman Chrome Gold first auto and a PSA 10. actually hit the market and sold, and it went for $28,000,
Yeah, big sale.
which is by far the most that card's a gold's ever gone for. But compared to these other sales, I almost feel like someone got a pretty good deal there. I think it's a pop 2, if I read the description correctly, which I may not have.
I heard a rumor Mookie's not even going to play this year, so that's a joke.
How much can it go down from there?
Yeah, I mean, how much can it really go down from there?
I mean,
It's not $1.2 million.
No,
we're so broke. Sometimes imagine spending $1 million on a card. I can't fathom it.
No. The only way I could do it is if I had like $1 billion, and like that money like wouldn't even be noticed by someone who might be watching a checking account of mine.
So you only have 500 million? Is that what you're hinting at? Or?
That's the subtle I'm getting at. Yeah, I mean, it's been a rough couple of weeks in the stock market, Phil. I've taken a beating.
All right. Well, everybody, thanks for watching. Let us know down in the comments down below what your thoughts are on this whole thing, and we'll see you in the next video.